Today on BELatina.
James and I spend the day with an inspiring Latino family that is taking control of their health and spreading positivity throughout their community.
I love it. And then we're going to heat things up with an authentic Mexican recipe that will leave everyone at the dinner table reaching for more tortillas.
That'll be me. And finally, James and I get active with trendy footwear options for a healthier lifestyle.
Así me gusta.
Today, James and I are shifting our attention towards the impact that diabetes is having on the Latino community. We're on our way to meet Oswaldo Diaz, an executive financier who is living with diabetes, and his wife, Martha. Oswaldo, Martha, thank you so much for welcoming us into your beautiful home. It is so warm and inviting. You have such an inspirational story. Tell me a little bit more about yourself and your journey with diabetes.
Of course. My family and I are from Mexico. My wife is from Guadalajara, and I grew up in Mexico City.
I was in those two cities just recently, and I just love Mexican food.
Oh, yes.
One of my favorites.
Definitely, that's actually one of the highlights of going to Mexico.
Yes.
And we also have two kids, one that is 15 years old and 13 years old.
Boys or girls?
Both boys.
Both boys. Wow, that's wonderful.
Family is very important to us, and we are very active in the community. In my case, I actually serve in 3 boards of a nonprofit organization. Professionally, I'm a business executive, and I also host 2 radio shows, one about business and the other one about community and wellness.
Where do you find the time? That's amazing. I know you're living with diabetes, but when were you first diagnosed with it?
I was first diagnosed about a year ago.
Okay. What were you feeling when they told you?
Well, it was definitely a very emotional experience. I was scared at first. And one of the things that worried me was how I was going to take care of my family. And I also take care of my parents. So this was definitely something very emotional.
Martha, I'm sure this must have been a shock for you. How did you accept this diagnosis of living with diabetes for your husband, for you and your children?
It was a shock for me also. See him stressed, it made me feel stressed too.
Of course, absolutely, because you feel helpless. You don't know how to be able to help him, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. After his diagnosis, I was very concerned about his health.
Sure.
I was thinking how is going to take care of everything. The good thing, like a couple, we choose not to focus on the problem, we focus on the solution.
Absolutely. I think that's a perfect example in anything in life. Problems will arise in life, but if we focus on the problem, we'll never get anywhere. And there's always a solution to everything.
That is correct.
So for that, we have a plan to learn more about diabetes together and do things together to fix the...
Well, that's where I think it comes into play, the importance of family and having that strong nucleus. I was reading about diabetes and I learned some eye-opening statistics that over half of the population of adult Hispanics will develop diabetes at some time in their life, according to the CDC. Now, what steps have you taken after you've been diagnosed with this diabetes?
Well, one of the important things that we did is we first started informing ourselves. As a family, I'm the first one in my family to actually be diagnosed with diabetes, so we were starting from scratch. This was something new for us. I immediately took action and went to my primary care physician.
Sure.
He actually conducted some tests. After that, I was referred to a nutritionist, and I was also referred to an endocrinologist. Both of these doctors referred me to support groups, and they were extremely useful because I learned a lot about myself and how to take care of my condition. First of all, about portion control. One of the things that was happening was that I was eating in really big plates, and I was actually eating a lot. So my wife and I actually bought smaller plates that we divide both in half for the salads. Instead of having half of rice and beans and all of that, it's going to be half that is salad. The other quarter of the plate, which is a handful, is going to be a protein. Could be chicken, beef, or fish. And the final quarter of the plate, if we want to call it that, that's going to be your rice or potatoes. But that would be a balanced meal for me, not necessarily for everybody.
So because you are, the main cook of the family, how did you have to adapt and change your recipes? And did your children accept these changes easily?
So we are learning to adjust as a family, and we are learning more what we was eating that affect his glucose. For example, that sticking on a schedule is very important, and eating at the same time every day is very good for our health. So all these things we are learning little by little, and the kids are adjusting.
That is wonderful. And I'm assuming that you also needed to start implementing a little more exercise to your lifestyle?
Yes, definitely. So exercise was very important. One of the things that I started to do was to hike. And those walks, I actually go with my family.
Well, it's a perfect opportunity because we live such busy lives and our days are always consumed, whether it's work or school or studying, that focusing on that time together as a family, It's wonderful time for you guys just to get close and spend time with one another.
Looking back into my journey, it has been a blessing because, of course, I've had to face diabetes, but at the same time, I had my support group, not only with my doctors, but also with my family. For me, it was definitely a moment that I was able to take a challenge and grow from that. And I cherish that as well.
And that's what we're about here at BELatina. So thank you for sharing this story, but don't think I'm leaving yet. You guys are gonna be with me all day and I'm not going anywhere. So stay tuned, all of you, because guess what? Oswaldo and Martha are going outside to the grill with Chef James to cook up a delicious but healthy recipe.
Hey guys, welcome back to BELatina. I'm your host, Chef James, and thank you for being with us. Marta and Osvaldo, thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be in this part of the house. What a beautiful setup you guys have out here, huh?
Well, it's actually, most of it is my wife, but I get to share.
Hold on. So you're gonna tell me that she does most of the cooking out here?
I do some of the cooking, but mostly is my wife who does the cooking. So,
Okay, how many times a week do you guys use this kitchen?
Maybe twice a month.
Twice a month.
Twice a month? I need to come here more often for sure to do some cooking because, I mean, such a beautiful, setup needs a little more of that.
Yes.
You agree?
Sure. No. And we'll have you whenever you want to come.
Okay, sounds good. So, great thing about you guys. You guys come from one of my favorite countries in the world, Mexico. I was just there last week. Beautiful food, beautiful culture. Everything happens around the food. And me being Venezuelan, today I wanted to pick one of those recipes that I think resonates perfectly, not only with Mexicans like you guys, but it's one of those recipes that a lot of people from outside recognize. How about we make a carne asada? Today I'm going to show you my version that picks a little bit of the greatest things of each carne asada recipe that I've tried all over Mexico. Beautiful. So very simple. The first thing I want to do is I want to marinate the meat. Usually for these types of recipes in those, local taquerias, they'll use the cheapest cuts of meat, which are delicious. But today I want to go a little fancier. So I have this beautiful, amazingly marbled New York strip. Okay, and what we're going to do is, first of all, marinate it. Marinating brings flavor from the inside out, and it's truly going to take this dish to the next level. So I'm going to place it here in this little bowl. And then I have some garlic. I'm gonna just mash a little bit of that garlic, and I don't wanna get it too fine, and I'll explain to you why. The reason why I'm just trying to get those, those oils out is so I can place them in the marinade, but then I can take them out easily. If I chop them too fine, they're gonna stick to the steak, and then to the grill, they're gonna burn, and I'm gonna get those not so tasty notes in there. So I take the garlic just like that, place it in the bowl, a little bit of red onion, then a tiny touch of jalapenos, a tiny more touch of salt, black pepper, which naturally enhances the flavor of the meat. And then we're gonna finish everything off with some oil. And for acidity, which is key, you can use limes, of course, but today we have lemons. I want you to look at that. And get your nose close into the bowl and smell everything that's happening in there. Isn't it like magic?
Yeah.
It's so intense, and that's
Delicious.
the beauty of using good quality ingredients. And talking about quality ingredients, I wanted you to tell me a little bit about some of those changes that you guys have made to your diets.
Well, first of all, I want to point out that everybody is different. So what spiked my glucose levels might not spike other people's glucose levels. And based on that, the ingredients that we use are more personalized.
Right.
They're not necessarily for everybody with diabetes. But in my case, what we did is we used to love fried chicken.
Right.
So one of the things that we did is we started using the air fryer instead of frying the chicken.
And it's so interesting how each case individually has its own tweaks and things here and there, which I find fascinating. You also told me something behind the scenes that I find very interesting. You quit completely on orange juice.
Well, that might not necessarily be completely accurate. I can have oranges whenever, let's say in the mornings when I wake up, I can definitely not have an orange juice because it spikes my glucose levels. But if I'm on a hike, my glucose levels drop, then at that moment I can have an orange, and that balances my glucose levels.
Now that we've marinated the meat, I'm gonna let it marinate. The more you marinate it, the better the flavor is gonna be. This one I've had marinated for approximately 4 hours. You can leave it in the fridge. If you leave it overnight, I guarantee you it's gonna be one of the most amazing things you'll ever do and wait for. So now that we have that ready, I'm gonna show you how to make one of the greatest things ever invented by humanity, and that is called guacamole. Ladies and gentlemen, I just got back from Cancun, Mexico, where they just come to the table and they take this beautiful creamy avocados and they make guacamole tableside, and to me it's one of the most fascinating things. So I'm gonna show you exactly the way it was done. I have some avocados. The only thing I did to this was smash it, add a little bit of lime juice to keep it nice and bright so it doesn't oxidize, and now I'm gonna start putting the rest of the ingredients.
And let me tell you that my wife Martha is actually a specialist in guacamole.
Every household has the mom, the aunt, the grandma that makes great guacamole. You
And the
agree?
amazing thing is that every family has their own recipe. It's not
Recipe, yeah, they're all different.
no the same for everybody.
Right. So this version is going to have a little bit of tomatoes that I chopped, you know, and I have some jalapenos, of course. If you want your guacamole to have some of that spiciness, try to keep the veins and some of those seeds in the actual peppers. As a matter of fact, this guacamole is looking so amazing that your neighbor's dogs are just dying to try our guacamole for sure, or the meat. So some red onions, some salt as well in there. I already added lime just to keep, you know, the vibrance and the color and the intensity. And now we're gonna add some cilantro in there.
Yeah.
Obviously, cilantro is key to a good guacamole. And then we just mix it like that. Let me show people at home the beauty of it and how artistic it looks and how easy it is to make. All right, so let's get into the grill. I'm gonna take off some of those large pieces of garlic and chilies and straight into the grill. Look at that. How do you like your steak cooked?
Medium.
Medium.
Medium, the same.
Medium?
Yeah.
And now what we want to do to get that medium is this technique that I love. And most of the times we put the meat, we leave it there, but what happens is that it doesn't cook evenly because the heat is gonna start pushing itself into the actual meat from one side, but the top is cold. So what I do is I like to grill for approximately 35 to 40 seconds first to get a nice sear, and then I flip. So now we go 40 seconds and we're evenly cooking the steak from each possible side. 45 more seconds on this side, and now we're gonna flip. We just go like that, and we're gonna let it continue to grill. How do you make your carne asada, Marta?
Oh, it's really easy. Just salt and pepper, and then marinate with a little olive oil,
Okay,
and that's it.
that's it.
Yeah.
Perfect, you see?
It's simple.
Simple, delicious and to
not
the
as
point.
fancy, but definitely works.
Still delicious.
Works.
I mean,
I love the garlic too. Maybe next time I'm going to add garlic.
you're gonna feel the difference, and especially because once you put the garlic in the oil, it starts releasing a lot of the flavor. So it's like an infused oil that's coating your steak, and once you put it there, the flavor of the garlic is cooking and concentrating. There's so much going on. Because we're on television and time is a commodity, I've already cooked one of my steaks, and I want to show you what it looks like. I'm gonna place it here so people at home can see it. I've rested it approximately 10 minutes. If we cut it when it's too hot, it's gonna bleed out.
Yeah.
And all the juices are gonna stay in your cutting board and not in the steak. So what I'm going to do here is I'm gonna cut against the grain, and I will show you how juicy this looks. Look. Look at that.
Wow.
Look how juicy that
Nice.
looks. And if I squeeze it a little bit, it even drips just like that. And
see it.
that's exactly what we want. Carne asada should be very juicy.
Yeah.
And now, if you give me the honor, I will serve you what I consider one of the best dishes of Mexican food. So I'm gonna take some of that guacamole in there. And then I'm gonna take a few pieces like that of my steak.
Nice.
You know? And we can add any additional toppings. Would you want something like cilantro and cebollita?
Cilantro, cebolla.
Okay,
yeah.
perfecto. Cilantrico, cebollita, tiny touch of lemon juice in there just to give it
Nice.
some nice acidity. Here's for you, Marta.
Thank you.
Let me know and don't go too harsh on me on the judging. You know, I'm Venezuelan, but I can cook good Mexican too. And then I'm gonna
Go
go
ahead.
Okay.
with you, Osvaldo,
Oh my
I'll-
God.
I'll actually have it the same.
the same way.
Yeah, the same
Okay,
way.
the same way. Cool. So we'll take a few pieces of steak there. I'm gonna take some cilantro, some cebollita as well, a tiny squeeze of lemon juice. Look at that. And here you go.
Nice.
Thank
Give
you,
it a try.
James.
I'm glad you like it.
Yeah, I love it.
What do you think?
Authentic Mexican.
Yeah,
taco.
you like it? Does it taste like Mexico?
Yeah, like a Mexico.
It's usually one of the challenges when it comes to cooking food from other country, you know? So I've had to do my homework and travel many times to Mexico, which is not
Wow.
difficult for me, huh?
Super excelente.
Thank you very much. I'm gonna make myself one as well,
Oh,
Yes,
please do.
please.
and this is the way I like it. I'll show you my way, see what you think. So I'll put some guacamole like that. I'm gonna take some of the meat as well. And then here is where, you know, I mix things up a little bit. I'm a big fan of
Oh my gosh.
chilies.
Oh,
So I'll add some chilies in there. Same thing, cebollita. A tiny touch of lemon. There we go. Guys, cheers. And let me give it a try.
thank you again.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
Delicious. Thank you.
Perfect food. This is a great way to spend time with, you know, family, people we love, show appreciation. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Thank you for
letting me
coming.
take over this beautiful grill. When I come back, I'm gonna put it rough on you. You cook and I sit down. Stick around, mi gente. Coming up next, Osvaldo and Marta continue their diabetes discussion with Karen, and we learn about a continuous glucose monitoring system that has made a huge impact on Osvaldo's life-changing health journey.
Welcome back, mi gente. I'm Karen Sierra, and Osvaldo and Chef James have just finished cooking up a delicious meal. How is the flavor?
Oh, it was great.
You know, Karen, one thing that really surprised me about the food as we learn how to cook healthier is the food is still tasty. And this is very important to us, the Latinos.
It's absolutely important. I'm Colombian, and we're all about el sabor. Apart from the dietary changes, I know that glucose control is an essential strategy in avoiding any complications with patients living with diabetes. How have you been able to manage that with your busy lifestyle?
When I was first diagnosed, I used to use finger sticks to check my glucose levels. For me, what was happening was that it was very hurtful poking my finger to actually check my blood.
Sometimes 3-4 times a day, I would imagine.
But now I don't have to poke my fingers anymore because I use the Freestyle Libre 2 system. which is a continuous glucose monitor, or also known as CGM. And what it does, it monitors my glucose levels on a minute-by-minute basis.
Oh, that's wonderful. How convenient. And when did you start using the CGM?
Well, the Freestyle Libre 2 system was not originally prescribed by my doctor. I actually did my own personal research and found out about it. And of course, I went to my doctor and I mentioned that I wanted to try the Freestyle Libre 2 system.
Interesting. So you just finished having a meal with James. So can you show me this in action?
Well, certainly. What I do is I take my smartphone and scan my phone and get my readings.
That's so comfortable for you and you get immediate results.
Yes. it
Wow,
is.
that's wonderful.
Oh, no, definitely. One of the things that I like is that it has alarms that both tell me whenever my glucose levels are either high or low. Another thing that I like is that I'm able to share this information both with my wife and my doctor as well. So they're always informed.
So Martha, I think that gives you a lot of peace of mind.
Yes, actually, when he was first diagnosed, I felt overwhelmed. I felt like, oh, Dios mío, another things to do. But with the Freestyle Libre 2 system, he's taking care of himself.
Absolutely. And that alone just helps you live just happier and more relaxed lives.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And you know, Karen, when I'm out in the community, people see my sensor. They ask me about it. They want to definitely understand what is it, how does it work, and how it has been life-changing for me. I tell people all the time that they can try the Freestyle Libre 2 system for free and that it might be even covered by their insurance. They just need to talk to their doctor.
That's great news. Where can our viewers at BELatina find out more information?
freestylelibre.us. And that's a website where you can actually learn more about the CGM and the Freestyle Libre 2 system.
Thank you so much for having us in your beautiful home and for educating not only your community, but all our viewers here at BELatina.
Oh, it was our pleasure.
To learn more about Oswaldo and his family's incredible journey, make sure to check it out on BELatina.com.
You can also follow us on social media at BELatina TV and BELatina News.
Now stick around, everyone. When we come back, James and I are throwing on our sneakers and getting active with trendy footwear options for a healthier lifestyle.
Karen and I are heading over to meet Brian Lane from Dr. Comfort. He's going to educate us on how to take care of your feet while managing diabetes and living a healthier lifestyle.
Hi there.
Hello.
So nice to finally meet you.
Nice to
Hey
meet
Brian,
you
how
both.
are you, man? Thank you very much
got
for
them.
the shoes.
We
That was
did.
awesome.
What do you think?
I'll tell you something. Every time I had to wear any therapeutic shoes, they weren't that good looking. And these not only feel amazing, but they look great.
I'll tell you, I feel like I'm walking in clouds. Like I feel like I'm bouncing. I'm just like, this is so comfortable.
And you're exactly right. Why don't we have a seat?
Yes.
Absolutely.
So you're hitting all those points. The name is Dr. Comfort.
Right.
So hopefully you feel that comfort.
Definitely.
They're also, again, very lightweight. You're wearing the Jack today, which is not only stylish, but it's also very therapeutic for your feet. You're wearing the Riley. I've got the Gordon on. Again, all supportive shoes for anybody.
Well, one of the things that I realized is that I've always known that wearing comfortable shoes obviously plays a role in your overall health. But I had no idea that specific footwear were designed to actually manage diabetes. Tell me how that works.
Yeah, so there's a lot of complications that can happen as a result of diabetes.
Sure.
It could be anything from poor circulation to different foot deformities. And we create and design shoes that will have features to benefit to make sure that those situations don't happen or progress to anything worse, like an ulcer or an amputation.
Of course.
Wow.
Sure.
One thing that I noticed is that as I'm walking, most of my weight is like towards the front of the foot. And not like sometimes you'll be wearing shoes and your heels just hurt after wearing them for a few hours. These feel just fine.
I feel a lot of cushion right in my heel area.
What's unique about our shoes is they have additional depth. So that allows for different types of orthotics. From different depths and also different cushionings, maybe something a little bit more rigid for different deformities of the foot, to these that don't have any seams or stitching on the inside of the shoe. to also prevent any future complications from occurring as well. And so they're all considered therapeutic shoes, and we do focus on patients with diabetes just because of the complications associated with them. And a physician can prescribe these for their different foot conditions.
Does it have to be a podiatrist, or could it be your primary care physician, for example?
So great question. It should have a lot of physicians involved with the overall process. So the primary care doctor or endocrinologist, whoever's treating the patient for their diabetes, should be prescribing the shoes because they have to qualify. They have to have diabetes with one of 6 various different conditions in order to qualify. But as I always say, that doesn't mean that those are the only people to qualify and to get these shoes. You can go on our website, drcomfort.com, and on there, anybody with just any foot pain or potential issues could also purchase them.
I mean, just by thinking about those like me, that we stand on our feet all day.
All day.
One thing you want to aim for is a shoe like this, because even most of the people make the mistake of buying, you know, sports shoes, and sometimes they're not comfortable at all.
You're right.
You agree?
I agree, and it's not only the shoes that you have to worry about sometimes, it's what's in the shoes.
Yeah.
And we offer lots of different options for them, from gel inserts to nice rigid orthotics to even customized orthotics that maybe a physician would even prescribe to a patient or a person who's on their feet a lot, like you.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm going to be flying out to Italy this week, and this is definitely one of the shoes that's going to be packed in my suitcases, because you walk around all day.
Of course.
And even like you said, sometimes you have the sneakers, but sometimes they're just not that comfortable. They're great for going to the gym, but this is something that I can see myself looking good, but being comfortable all day walking through all the streets of Italy.
Great thing you brought some other styles as well, and I was pointing at those because I would never think that is a therapeutic shoes.
Absolutely. They actually look so stylish.
It's honestly, as I was saying, it's a great solution to a massive problem that most of the people face. I mean, haven't you heard like a million people around you saying, oh my God, my feet hurt? I mean, you can wear something stylish and at the same time you're taking care of your feet and you're feeling good. Brian, I really want to thank you for the gifts. You know, super excited to wear these, and we're super happy that you came.
I know, definitely. I'm looking forward to my trip in Italy. I'll be walking all over it. I'll make sure to post some pictures so I can show you.
I can't wait to see.
By the way, you can come anytime and bring us even more shoes. We'll be happy to wear them.
Every time you have new styles, feel free to send them over and we can let you know what we think.
I would be happy to do that, of course.
Thank you. And remind us, where can all of our viewers of BELatina go to check out all the different styles and order some?
Yeah, they just go to drcomfort.com. They could order, and they could even look for a provider on our website, just in case they want to follow up and see if their insurance will cover them.
That's
and
perfect.
if they want to get something custom, they can still do it there.
They can, yeah, with their provider. Yes, they can.
Amazing. Well,
Thank you so much, Brian.
Thanks for joining us, mi gente. For more behind the scenes on today's show, make sure to visit BELatina.com.
And make sure to follow us on social media at BELatina TV and at BELatina News. See you next time.